This week on the new Homesteader series, your top 5 questions on Livestock Guard Dogs.
This week on our new Homesteader questions, we're talking about LGDs. So let's hear our top 5 questions, Kanan.
Will a Livestock Guard Dog protect poultry?
That's a tough one. Yes and no. Most of them, yes, because most of them have been trained with the understanding that they do not kill anything other than canines and other, raccoons and that sort of thing. That said, some of them don't do very well with birds. So it's really going to be a thing about what your dog has been exposed to, what they're used to, what they've been trained to. Most of them will do just fine, though, if they are being run around a pen. That's actually why we got our very first ones, was to protect our chickens from foxes. So if they're pinned, absolutely you should be fine. I've never had a dog dig into a poultry pen, but if you're free-ranging poultry, I would say cautious is best and kind of gauge your dog for itself.
Do I need more than one Livestock Guard Dog?
That, again, is a little bit dependent on your situation. Generally, no, because if your dogs are bonded to each other, they're not bonding to your livestock. That said, if you are in an area with very, very large predators, like we have mountain lions, bobcats, bears, we do, at least in our girls herd, we do run 3 girls, 3 female LGDs to help protect them. Each of them has a very different function, though. We've got Big Shy, who's big part Akbosh. She's about 150 pounds. She is the muscle. She will go where the other girls tell her to go. Freya, who's our Commodore Cross, it's about 120 pounds. She's one of those that is very bonded to the goat, so she's going to stay with the flock in the event that something happens. Skady is our 80-pound bit of dynamite. She's part Anatolian, and she is the one that's going to run down whatever it is. But unfortunately, she's not terribly large, so you don't have to have one. If you've got a good 120-pound dog that's going to discourage whatever predators you have, that's fine. But if you are running a bigger pasture and bigger predators, you might want to consider at least a pair.
So I've heard Livestock Guard Dogs bark a lot. Is that true?
I would say barking a lot is an understatement. These guys always have something to say, and despite their really large size, the first line of defense for a Pyrenees is to bark. They have a very large, booming bark. That's not just the Pyrenees, that's any of your LGD breeds. So the first thing they're going to do is, what I like to always say is trash talk. They're going to tell whatever they think the threat is, how much that they're going to whoop on them. The hope is that they don't actually have to. So, yes, they bark. Full moons, especially anything that gives a lot of shadows, they tend to think there's a threat around every corner. So if you live somewhere with a lot of neighbors, you really might want to consider a different kind of dog breed than your LGDs.
So what kind of fencing and housing would you recommend for an LGD?
Well, your livestock guardian dogs are going to live with their charges, unless they're guarding poultry, and then you'll probably have a house or something out there. A true LGD, if they are raised to be a livestock guardian dog, are going to live with their livestock. They're not house dogs. So for us, ours live out in the barn with their goats, and that includes all of the dogs that we have, with the exception of our little house mutt. Everybody lives out with their charges. Fencing, however, is a whole different animal. An LGD, most of them are notorious roamers. And a 4-foot fence is not a whole lot to stop them, unfortunately. Our girls usually will stay with their goats. The boys take a taller fence and a more secure fence. Barbed wire is not going to hold these guys in. With their thick coat, they go right through it. So you're going to need really strong field fence, netting fence, that kind of thing. They will dig, so they will go under it. And like I said, some of them will go over it. We have one out back that he's crawling over a 52-inch tall cattle panel fence. So secure fencing is absolutely a must with these guys.
So what would you recommend as the best breed for LGDs?
Honestly, my favorite for an LGD is a crossbred. I like something with the Pyrenees because Pyrenees are very, very easygoing. but they are not always the best at being bonded to their livestock anymore. The ones that we have in the United States have not been working dogs as much. They've tended to make them pets, which is kind of a bummer. So I like to cross mine out. So what we have here, we do have one purebred Pyrenees. We've got 2 crossed out with the Akbosh. We've got a girl that's half Anatolian, and then we have a half Commodore. Really, it depends on what's in your area. I've heard really good things about the Marimas, but I don't own one, so I can't really speak to that. You've got Tibetan Mastiffs, which are supposedly very, very good livestock dogs. So you've got a lot of options. It's just going to kind of depend on what you've got in your area. Okay, so that's your 5 questions on LGDs for this week. If you have other questions that we didn't address, go ahead and put them down in the comments section, and we'll either do another one of these or we'll just answer you in the comments and go from there. So that's it from Sprague Homestead for this week, and we'll see you next time.